Hello, hello, and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni. This is Danny. And for the week of August 4th through the 10th, the sun is in gate 7 and the earth in gate 13.
13 and 7, the Sphinx. This is the abstract and the logical process married together. When we did it the first time when it was 13 in the sun, it's going to play out very close to the same way. Now the army's in the sun, and we'll see what that means.
Exciting. So thank you to everyone who's watching and liking and subscribing and hanging out with us. We really appreciate you, and let's get into it. Here we have our mandala view and the sun in gate 7, which is the self and interaction, and that's an identity center gate. And the earth is in gate 13, which is the listener, and it's also an identity center gate.
Yeah, being part of the Sphinx, it's all going to be in the identity. In fact, all the gates of this are in the identity. The Sphinx also has the 1 and the 2. And I find it interesting that we just left the left angle cross of refinement, refining our way towards beauty. And now we have the army and the listener it's sort of funny how 33 comes before. You know what I'm saying? I know it's not before 13, but it is before in the movement of the wheels. So first we retreat, and then the prodigal comes out. So I find that to be interesting. But gate 7 and gate 13 come together to give us the past and the future, and that's a big deal to us. That is a big deal to us. And when I say give us, it gives us through remembering and through action, through telling a story, and then through doing stuff that logically seems like we should probably do.
Here we have the sun in gate 7, which is the army and the role of the self in interaction. The point of convergence. By design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. Gate 7 is an identity center gate, part of collective circuitry, so sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the understanding circuit specifically. Gate 7 links up with gate 31, which is influence, and the 731 make up the channel of the alpha. Gate 7 is oriented towards the future with an ability to see when society's present direction needs correction to get there. This is logic's gate of direction. Through your role with the understanding of humanity's future direction, persuading others to follow your leadership, and influencing people in positions to influence themselves.
Yeah, teaching them to be of influence themselves, absolutely, is what ends up happening through this channel. But just through gate 7 itself, the army has this. It starts with the authoritarian, this iron hand that is both enlightened and can be, in its not self way, despotic, because if it tries to take leadership, through trying to convince people only, but it doesn't work. When it is elected, so to speak, it literally becomes the direction of that which makes sense to do based on the stories we heard from gate 13 in the first place. These two collective directions they move everything from the past and the present and the future, through the present into the future. And so gate 7 itself says, I'm going to pull things together. And it also says, I'm going to do it like a Democrat and sort of have everyone agree. And it says, we're going to do some trial and error. We might even have some anarchy. It says all kinds. It says, let's all get along, and I'll give in a little bit, like an abdication. Or it says, I'm the general. We're going to move in. I'm going to come and save the day, so to speak. Or it says, I'm the role model, which in gate 7 is the capable administrator. So it's got all of these roles in it through the 6. I just did the 6 lines. And through that, you can start to see, oh, this is logic's process leading to gate 31, which influentially will say stuff about it. It will explain it essentially and get people to see the direction that moves forward. And as more people can see it, the more consensus there is, the more the authoritarian can give way to the Democrat and just allow the foundation to be that which all the people can agree.
The collective's direction towards the future.
Put most simply, that's exactly what it is. And if you have gate 7 in your body graph, you're always eyeballing that. And you're seeing where it is and where it isn't. Sometimes you're a little bit ticked off because you see it, no one's listening.
That's a projected channel.
It's a projected channel. Yeah. So that's gate 7 in a nutshell.
Here we have gate 13, which is the fellowship of man and the gate of the listener. Universal ideas and values in an ordered framework which inspires humanistic cooperation. Gate 13 is an identity center gate, part of collective circuitry. So sharing is our keynote, and it's part of the sensing circuit specifically. Gate 13 links up with gate 33, which is retreat, and the 1333 make up the channel of the prodigal. Gate 13 has a gift of hearing, seeing, and storing secrets. And it's perceived as a confidant and a keeper of secrets. And it's ensuring important lessons, which can only be learned from experience, are held and cherished until the time is right for contribution to humanity's understanding of itself.
And that understanding is so important in gate 13. It basically, look at it like it's almost an alpha and omega moment where all the things end there, and the whole experiential process of humanity, including the emotions, terminate here and prepare themselves for expression in gate 33, this prodigal that shows up. So 13 is about taking everything that would have been abstract in the first place through the experience of being in your body, the vessel, gate 46 below, through the process of making the commitment into the thing, and through the process of even the format channel below that is maturing a process, the channel of maturation. Through all of that, it's focused up in 13, and 13 people talk to it because it's almost the representative ear for that whole process. Hey, I did this thing. The person tells the listener, hey, I have this process I'm in. They tell the listener that everything. Hey, I did something that wasn't so good. They tell the priest, the listener, all of it. In fact, the priest as a listener is a really good example of 13. It's probably an archetype of an example of 13 because it's really personal. They will tell everything. If you've got a 13 child and there's no 33 in the home, that 13 child is going to store up everything that's going on in that home. Thing is, if they go someplace else and there's a 33, they're going to start talking of what they remember. So it is powerful because every little secret, the good ones, the bad ones, the ones that don't matter, they're all being stored here for collective retrieval into a story that helps us not repeat the bad things of the past and helps us use the past as a guide into the future. So 13 is forever lending assist to gate 7, forever lending assist to gate 7. And gate 7 is forever obeying 13 because it can't be logical if it flies in the face of what the prodigal has to say. And if the prodigal has something to say, it's not going to get anywhere necessarily if gate 7 doesn't come in also and raise the army. The army is the rest of us. We are the army. So we're the volunteer army is what we are. And that's what this whole process is. It's sort of a volunteer process more than anything. But that's gate 13 in a nutshell.
Next up, we have our Incarnation Crosses for the week. First up, we have the right angle cross of the Sphinx, which adds the 2 and the 1 to the 7 and 13 we've been discussing. These are people of influence equipped to lead, whose sound logic and attention to the past play a key role in directing humanity toward a secure future. Then we'll move into the juxtaposition cross of interaction, which adds the 23 and the 43. And these are people who are always looking for ways to live out their leadership, to be of influence without being influenced. And finally, we'll move into the left angle cross of masks, which adds the 23 and 43. These are people who are projected upon to provide practical or wise leadership, to be influential change agents. They do best from behind a mask or title, such as a general or therapist.
Those are examples of this title that happens in the left angle, but it still starts from the right angle. This pouring of a direction that then includes 1 and 2, this is the entire Sphinx apparatus seen through the lens of being influential, of the influencer that is equipped, whose sound, logic, attention to everything is also accepting of everyone else's sound, logical attention to things, because it's always a shared process. That attention to things gets refined. and it gets refined right up to where there's a title behind the person. We've got carried away with titles in these past, 5 or 10 years. There's a specialty for everything these days. I have a feeling that's going to slow down a little bit, but regardless, 2 and 1 come on board. They make this whole cross. They say we are pushing a direction towards more beauty. That's all expressions of the Sphinx in every quarter push towards love and beauty, push towards the empowerment of love, the capacity to commit, the capacity to hold a pattern that makes sense and create a direction from those two things. Generate a direction, essentially, because it's receiving its energy from the sacral. If you think about it, this center, the G center, is 90% empowered by the sacral, and then it gets a little bit and then it gets a hit from the ego, but it's got 4 gates to the sacral, 1 to the ego. It's highly motorized, this whole process. There's only 3 gates that don't touch a motor directly out of the 8. So a generated process that behind a mask is able to say stuff. It's almost like the fiction in law where where the person or the other thing is the object. It's the corporation, but there's still a man or woman behind it. That's what that mask is. That mask is the capacity to have more of yourself out in the world. When I ran a mortgage company, it wasn't just Dan Edwards, it was also mortgage giver. And I wasn't just Dan Edwards, I was owner and originator. And trust you me, we pushed a direction. And ultimately, when it wasn't beautiful enough, I ended up having to stop. So this is incredibly interactive, this whole process. And don't let that mask fool you. They're not hiding, not that they're hiding. It's just that they've collected enough to add another word to their name, essentially. That's the listener. Again, the listener does the collection. 7 is aided by the listener, forever receiving its assist from gate 13. So it's a good way to move into this next quarter that we're now in. This is the outset of it. And if you think of it, masks is what's needed before bonding can really take place. We put forward ourselves, and then we also put forward the best of ourselves. Both things. So that's what's about to happen here.
Joe Rogan is a cross of the mask. And it's interesting because he's collected all these different things, and now he's behind the comedian mask, or behind, like, he's doing the Joe Rogan experience where it's like, yeah, it's him and he's just hanging out and talking, but it's still under this, he's a persona in a way as well, even though
he's a total persona,
like he's himself, but yeah, it's like you're still broadcasting, but because of this, it's like he's collected all these stories and he's like, I just want to talk to people. I want to hear people's stories and just sit there for 3 hours and like collect the stories with like the ongoing direction and stuff.
Well, if you think about it, from behind the mask, people are more willing to talk. So Joe Rogan is the perfect person to elicit the responses and the stories and the talkativeness that is his show. Everyone's willing to tell a therapist everything.
Yeah, I mean, you want to tell, like, how much of like your problems that you'd be desperate to just be able to like tell somebody and just get it out of you, so it's not just swirling up in your head, whether it's a therapist or a priest or a friend or a helpline or whoever you're going to be reaching out to. Like, we just want to get that out of us, because otherwise it just kind of stirs and eats us up.
Yep, and the Rogan experience is actually a really good one because he gets to live out his direction through the act of listening.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, and that's what his show provides for him. It's incredible. The capacity of his show to give him 7 and 13 is incredible. Through the act of listening, he leads a direction through each conversation, and then he repeats 3 hours at a time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Great example.
Yep.
And finally, we have our hexagrams for the week. First up, we have the sun in gate 7, which is the self and interaction. In my I Ching book, it reads as the army. And the trigrams are earth over water. The image reads, in the center of the earth is a stream, the army. A noble one accepts the people and nurtures crowds. The stream within the earth flows strongly because the earth accepts and absorbs all the water that falls on it. A noble one gathers an army with the same open acceptance, tending to its growth. You can find strength in the flow of the whole self by recruiting all of the different character traits and hidden underground emotions.
What it says is the enlightened version, the nine-centered awakened version of Gate 7 is receptive and allows the contributions of others to collect and flow through until finally it is contributed into manifestation through both gates, 31 and 33, but 31 is through the influence. I thought that was rather fitting, and the hexagram looks exactly like it.
And then we have the Earth in Gate 13, which is the listener, or in my I Ching book, it reads as people in harmony. Isn't that so sweet?
That's sweet.
Right? And the trigrams are heaven over fire. That's funny. Like it sounds so intense for people in harmony. It's heaven over fire. The image reads, heaven joins with the fire, people in harmony. A noble one sorts the clans and differentiates between things. Imagine the fire reaching up towards the night sky, joining with the stars to cast light on many clans gathered around it. A noble one has the clarity of vision to see the shared nature of all groups have in common, and also what is shared only within each individual group, and how this distinctiveness comes from their clannish roots. Harmony between people will not come by forcibly amalgamating the clans. To disarm their natural defensiveness, the noble one needs to first recognize and respect identities different from his own.
So that's pretty intense. I mean, everything that just said that the amalgamation of all the stuff that comes in is for the greater good. And it's going to have to be shared. Obviously, this is in a projected sharing channel through the circuitry of the collective. And so all the experiences come in, and I don't know how to make sense of heaven over fire. I do know the fire part. I mean, the fire part is you hear a lot. Your ears on fire. I got this one, I got that one. So, well, I mean, some things are a dumpster fire. You did what? Right? I mean, the listener hears it all, so I get the fire part a little bit, but
Well, so fire in the I Ching is about clarity. It's like burning things away. Like it's that kind of clarity that kind of
oh,
comes through.
okay. Well, then that makes it make more sense because we are burning away the essence of the things that don't matter in order for the story to be told and the collective history to be accounted for. Gate 13 is the accountant in the penta. Basically, it is the holder of the records in the family. It's the holder of the pictures and the family stories and the news articles when Johnny kicked the ball or whatever, all the things that happened in the family. So this listener can't wait to pull out the old books and tell the story and make it be part of the new book. And the fire burns away the stuff that doesn't need to be said anymore. So I guess now the hexagram makes sense.
This idea of you can't force people to get along and be friends. Like we're not gonna have harmony between people by forcibly amalgamating the clans. Like you can't just be like, here, you be friend with this kid, when it's like, hey, they don't naturally understand and respect each other. You can't just force them to get along, but it's to you actually have to first recognize their identities. This is your thing, this is your thing, this is your history, this is your experience, right? It's that collection of experiences and respecting each of these different experiences so you can actually understand from one another and then grow to a place of harmony. If you just try to like force it together, it's not going to work. You need to actually understand each distinctive group or person, right, and all their little collective experiences before you can kind of meld them into a place of harmony and moving forward and into the expression and like that collection of memory.
Yeah, the foundation of Gate 13 all by itself is the empathetic. The empathy that says, I have to listen to all things with a type of equanimity first, and then discern. I mean, they could still discern you right out of their life because what they heard was no good for them, but they have the
So
empathy.
listen first.
Listen first. Yeah, with equanimity, and that's a bold thing. That's the foundation of that, meaning guaranteed everything gets to come in.
So tying it all together, what do we tell our audience for how they can see this and what can they expect and how they can play with it and witness the energy of the sun in gate 7 and the earth in gate 13?
I just realized why 33 comes before.
It's because it's 33 and then it goes to.
And then now it's time to do something. It's an action and direction comes out of all of this. We had fire, lake, and earth and mountains. We had it all. This is a time to like pick a direction. So you just had a week of reflecting, a type of reflection where there's a privacy and a retreat where you pulled away and gathered your own resources in gate 19 and contemplated what really even are they all compared to all the stuff you've been, getting ready to have a privacy about. And 13 now says, help aid the direction, push a direction. There is one, make it be towards beauty. There's just no way around that. So now's the time to like look around and see what wasn't all that good for you in the past year and change it. Start changing it. And if you're afraid of that, recognize that. And if you don't change anything, recognize that there was something you found that you probably wanted to. Hold on to that. That process will complete now. Now's the time to gather up memories of things that are processes that if you can't start them now or what have you, they're in your back pocket. There's something to do. So maybe even make a little list of things that would come up this week while this transit is going by, because you're naturally going to want to be influential with all of that. You're naturally going to want to do a little bit of leading. You're going to feel a little bit of that alpha energy that wants to help move things in a logical direction. So plans, you had plans on a drawing board for a thing, give it its final touches. Absolutely. And you'll see the direction is already set out for you. The energy to pick the right direction for yourself is in the sky this whole week. Please take some time to pick it.
Well, it's like being grounded in 13 with the earth in 13. So it's like being grounded in hearing or having all those experiences, like all that collective experiences of like, okay, what are all the things, like you said, what's happened in this past year? And then the sun can shine in 7, which is that, okay, and then where are we going forward in our future direction?
Let sun be, if you ever saw the movie Stripes, let sun be Sergeant or Captain Holka, Sergeant Holka, right? Because he always had a direction. He was the Army. And let Gate 13 be the character that Bill Murray played. Yeah, those two guys work out at it. To let the Army drive a direction.
Okay.
And let 13 pull in all the goofy things that are going to color that direction just right. A cherry on top, 7 in the sun is the perfect time for people to really just recognize that the strength within them to be a leader in your own life does not require the leadership of others, that you are strictly leading others. It starts with a kernel and a fire and a magic little light that shows up within yourself. See it and don't avoid it. Is the thing. You can easily avoid it and say, I'm not good enough or I don't know. Lean into that this week. Absolutely, because 13 will give you the assist I keep talking about. It'll show up.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you to everyone who is liking and subscribing and hanging out with us. We'll catch you next week for another transit.
Thanks, everyone.